Please don't hear any of this, Brad.
All right, we ready? You hitting it? Tell me when we're rolling. No, we've been rolling. God damn.
We're Googling over here.
All right.
To nerd sports now, people.
Exactly.
Look out. Do you fear death?
Oh, one of the greatest lines of all time.
I've got a job to it. I've got a job to it.
Kind of like whistles at her, so Dad looks over and the guy's going. And Dad's like, I got the fuck out of there. I was like, oh man, you didn't partake? I thought that was part of the mountain biking community, that y'all just went out there and had sex together in your tight shorts. But
Literally making me 30 sides of red sauce. He just takes it back up.
So that's what I was doing wrong the first time.
That's what you were doing wrong.
Big Pharma's turning the frogs gay, and it's coming after your kids.
And they're going to make them incredibly happy.
Infowars.com.
Listened to so much. Are you...
Take two.
1, 2, 3. If you ever change your mind about leaving me behind, baby, bring it to me. Bring your sweet loving. Bring it on home to me. Yeah.
We're rolling. I'll fix them if we got to. But you had asked what got me into podcasting. I think a lot of it was when my grandparents died, I realized I really had nothing other than stories and pictures.
Yeah.
And there was nothing tangible, you know.
Yeah.
And I wished I had... Well, I have a recording of my grandmother from like a high school project where you had to interview the oldest person you knew. You had to ask them like what their childhood was like. And bitch was still riding horses to school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. I know somebody...
Oh, the shit I'm about to tell you, I completely understand that. Yeah.
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 So, well, what do you got there?
Well, really how I got into music is my dad was one of 17 children. And they grew up dirt poor. And when I say dirt poor, I mean they had literal dirt floors and a tiny little shack, 3 bedrooms. They grew up on Mill Creek, you know, right next to where Rick lives.
Yeah.
And 17 of them, you know, their ages spanned 20 years. Like, my grandma was busy.
Yes, indeed.
You know, he tells stories, you know, and there's some trauma there, obviously, as
Sure.
there would be, just growing up in poverty. I mean, extreme poverty. But a lot of them ended up dropping out of school at an early age so they could work and provide for the family.
Right.
And they, you know, my dad tells stories about them, you know, being able to see through the walls and seeing snow fall, and being thankful when somebody wet the bed, because they slept, you know, 3 or 4 kids to a bed, because it provided warmth. I mean, that was like the conditions they were in. But the beautiful part about it is that my grandma, Rima, beautiful lady, obviously strong as hell, she was musically inclined. She knew how to play the guitar. She sang hymns in church.
Nice.
Had a beautiful voice.
So you grew up around this?
Yeah, well, I got to know her when she was kind of on her way out.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have wonderful memories of her.
Gosh, but don't you wish you had more? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any recordings or?
Unfortunately, no, I don't. Some of my family members might, but no, she taught everybody that was interested, all of those kids, if they were interested in it, she taught them how to play the guitar and how to sing. And that's just kind of what they did. I mean, they didn't have TV. They had the radio, but they didn't really have anything, I mean, besides working. They just go home, and in their spare time, they'd play music. And so the result of that was that most of them ended up with some musical ability. Some of them I would consider, in my mind, like prodigies. Like my Uncle Johnny, who is still living, he was kind of the lead of the Perkins Brothers band, and I'll get into that in a second. But he's the drummer and the lead singer, and he wrote a lot of the songs that are on their CD. And then my Uncle Dave, who's unfortunately no longer with us, I mean, he played the squeeze box. Like, he could pick like no other. Played the harmonica, you know, like he was just everything I hear about my Uncle Dave.
How'd they get so good?
I think just time. I think part of it was having the time.
They just had the time to pick
do
and
it,
try different stuff.
And part of it was also just genetics.
And a lot of that was
honestly.
self-taught.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd kind of pick up things.
Yeah. I mean, Rima showed them a lot, but my grandma, but I
gave
think...
them a starting point.
Yeah.
It was chords or the basic things, but then you kind of got to find your own identity, don't you think?
Yeah, and I think they all really latched onto that in their own ways and just kind of went from there. And they were big in church. You know, they went to Church of Christ. They were very rooted in that community. So I feel like that kind of, because they started out singing hymns, so you know, just kind of developed into its own thing. And when they became teenagers, they were like, let's fucking do this, man. Like, can I cuss? Is that okay?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, this is a safe space. We also have editing power, so
Great.
We don't do these live for a reason.
No racial slurs for me. But yeah, so when they were, you know, it was back in the, I don't know when they officially started. They all looked like babies to me. Probably, I would say, in their 20s, 30s, maybe, in their original picture. They made, you know, a couple tapes to start off with, but it was 5 of the brothers. And it's Johnny, Luke, Harold, Tim, and Mark, which is my dad. And Johnny played the drums. He was the lead singer. Harold plays bass, still does to this day. He sits in with me sometimes. Tim is on lead guitar. Luke is keyboard and harmony. And my dad played rhythm. And
so they all kind of developed specialties based on what the need was?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
And they, you know, they got together, wrote a few songs, decided to make a CD, and people still to this day ask, hey, man, you got a Perkins Brothers CD? Like, I've used to look, because they went all over the place playing like an OARC and, you know, St. Paul Pioneer Day and small parties and get-togethers, big parties and get-togethers. Like, they ended up playing all over the place. But people fucking loved them. And it was kind of a staple, like in the generation where my brother is, like when he was a kid, starting to drink in his, I'll say early 20s to be nice.
Yes. Everybody's legal here, people.
But whenever he was starting to drink, like they were really popular, and so that's kind of like they use a Perkins Brothers song for their graduation song.
Yeah,
like
that's
how
powerful.
rooted in they
That's
were.
powerful.
But if you ask anybody around there, they're like, yeah, the Perkins Brothers, like fuck yeah, I love the Perkins Brothers.
So you grew up around all that.
Yeah.
Did you ever jam with them? Did you ever?
So two of my cousins, Kelsey and Carly, they were my Uncle Luke's daughters. He was in the band, and we ended up kind of picking up that same like musical inclination. We all learned how to play the guitar. We loved to sing. We learned to harmonize together, and we would go down to Tim's on Mill Creek, which is where Jerry Chadwick lives now, just down from Rick Owens, and we would he would throw parties there at the barn, and the Perkins Brothers would play. And when they wanted to take a break, they'd say, "Girls, you want to get up?" And we would rehearse, and we would get some songs together, and we would bring people to tears, man.
So you knew it was coming. You got a little something together. That's kind of what we're trying to do with Durham Fest, is let people get up and you want to do a set, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it was like birthday parties, just a Friday night. That was excuse enough to get together and have a good time. And
what a cool thing.
Yeah. So, and I remember, they'd pull up a big long neck trailer and just set it up and set all their equipment on it and just go to town.
Yep.
People fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And they were good.
Yeah, I grew up with a Hannafest, which was my dad's band. It was out in Crosses. Mm-hmm. Not far from there, actually. But my dad's band would play every year, and whatever band I was in would open up for him, and we'd camp out and have a good old time.
Hell yeah!
People get up, it's a unique kind of upbringing. Not a lot of people.
Yeah, have. Like I was telling you earlier, like back in the '90s, which I was born in '94, so I feel like I was kind of catching the tail end.
You missed a lot of cool shit.
I missed a lot of cool shit, and when I got old enough to realize what was cool, I definitely had missed it. But I had my brothers, Jake and Josh, who were 9 and 10 years older than me, and they were around and embracing and enjoying the cool shit while it was cool. So they kind of clued me in.
They're my age, roughly 40.
Yeah. My oldest brother turns 40 next month.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they remember the Nintendo coming out.
Oh yeah. So I was kind of like enjoying that as well as I could, as like a 5 and 6 year old. But yeah, I was always the annoying little sister, because they'd be in there listening to Creed in their bedroom, and I'd be like, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm here annoying the shit out of you, like. What's good?
Were they pretty cool to you?
Oh, yeah.
For being
the best.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd get annoyed with me and be like, "Get out of here."
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out. But I just stick around.
That's a sibling thing.
Yeah.
My
and the
little
age
ones will
difference
be
back there.
best friends for like 6 straight hours, and then all of a sudden there's a fist fight in the backyard. It's
Yeah.
like, how did we get here?
Yeah. I mean, I have like vivid memories. Mom was still at work and we were at home. And Jake and Josh would just be like fucking trying to rip each other's throats out. And it's like, I was fully convinced they were trying to murder each other.
Yeah.
Like, I was sobbing and like by them, like, "Don't kill each other." Just terrified.
What's up with the limes?
Limes
We
are
got
delicious.
limes on the pod. They're on the camera. We can see the limes.
Yep. Limes are delicious in Busch Light, or really any light beer. I'm a big fan of micheladas, so like red beers. That's not technically the term. Michelada is a Mexican, it's kind of sweet, kind of tomato-y, kind of a mixture of things. I think they use Clamato a lot of the times. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But if you go to a Mexican restaurant, you can almost always order a michelada, and it's involving some sort of tomato, some sort of lime, some sort of beer. And I've always been a big fan of that. Margaritas. And so I kind of like to spruce my light beers up with some lime every now and then.
That's adventurous. I like that about you.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously,
I might even try that here in a minute.
Yeah, people
might spruce up this. So we've had some people talk about the alcohol community.
Is there an alcohol community?
Oh yes. When it gets into, have you ever met wine people? they start
yeah.
talking about the husk or whatever the fuck they call it.
Oh,
and
like
all the-
sommeliers.
I don't even know what that means, but you know what I'm talking
They
about.
twirl the glass.
Yes,
Like-
but whiskey people are like that too. Like there's a hint of banana, and we were
Yeah, I
roasting that on
can't-
the pod the other day. I can have a really in-depth conversation with anyone about the top 5 cheapest light beers on the market.
yeah.
And I can hang with that conversation, but once you get outside of that, I have no idea.
Yeah. I get that.
But people take that seriously. Spend a lot of money on it.
They really do. And,
Ain't nothing wrong with it, people.
no, there's nothing wrong with it.
But we're trying to get drunk on a budget.
Every time somebody brings something like that up, like people noticing like notes of oak and, whatever.
Rosemary.
Yeah.
Thyme.
Like, I think of, and I'm a big Office fan. I love The Office, and pretty much everybody else does too. It's not a special thing about me, but one of my favorite lines from that, and I always think of it when somebody brings that up, is he's twirling this wine around and he says, "Oh, it's got an oaky afterbirth." Like,
Yeah, that's how it sounds to me.
people sound ridiculous when they say shit like that.
I've seen massive family fights over wine.
Oh. What kind of family are we talking?
Oh, it was mine. It was mine. One was talking about, you can't have good wine unless it's $200 a bottle, and somebody was saying no.
Have they ever tried Boone's Farm?
I think that was the counter argument was actually Boone's Farm, and I didn't grow up poor, but I didn't grow up rich either. Like we were
Yeah.
middle class, so I have a lot of people that grew up in poverty that have been on the show, and it's a different experience than I had. I knew people
Yeah.
like that. I grew up around them.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that experience.
Yeah.
And then I know people who grew up very wealthy.
Yeah.
I was like, I sure as fuck didn't have that experience.
No.
So I'm kind of like in a middle place, and because all of life is only about your perception and what you've been through.
Right.
So it's just funny how.
Well, and I think a lot of people can probably relate to that too, because I feel like there are a lot of people who consider themselves to be like growing up in the middle of the road. Like you have those on each extreme too, but I think most people, if you ask them and they seem kind of like down to earth, kind of in tune with themselves and their confidence and whatnot, like if you ask them like, how'd you grow up? They'd probably say, we did okay. We did all right. Like we weren't rich, but we
Right.
weren't poor, and we got by.
You seem to be in a pretty good mental place for being your age.
I mean, I feel like I am.
Pretty stable. Maybe not.
I mean,
don't know.
yeah, no.
You've seen,
Just
okay,
joking.
well, I'll use the term professional.
No, I'm just
You've been
joking.
professional in our interactions.
Yeah, I mean, I try to.
You seem to have coming from the right place, I guess is what I'm.
I try
trying
to
to
have
say.
respect for people and just a mutual respect. If you respect me, I'll respect you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. That was always kind of ingrained in me growing up. So I definitely feel like at times I did come from humble beginnings. We weren't always, I wouldn't even consider us middle class at some points in our life. At some points, yes. But we did hit hard spots and have to kind of revert back just to survive and make ends meet. But yeah, I feel like kind of my experiences just in my childhood and then with the family that I was raised in, everybody, my grandparents, especially on my mom's side and my dad's side, both kind of instilled like a sense of, you just gotta do your best and do your best with what you have and work hard to get what you want and treat others in a good way. And most of the time you'll end up okay if you do that.
You think that's a dying set of values in this country?
Yes, unfortunately. I think, with social media, honestly, it's scary. And I'm single. I'm don't have any children. Never been married. And I feel like, in the dating scene nowadays, I'm kind of witnessing, which they're a part of my generation most of the time, but I think the way social media has even impacted the people that are in my generation, it's even worse for people that grew up in it and have never experienced a life without social media or a life without technology being a staple in their everyday life. honestly. I
I
mean,
haven't really thought about that because I'm a pre-social media generation.
yeah, me too, to some degree. I mean, I got my first cell phone when I was maybe like 14, and it was a blue Nokia, and the only reason I used it was to play the snake game that was on it. I didn't even
We've
know.
talked about the snake game.
I didn't
yeah.
even know how to text my friends. I didn't know how it
Yeah.
worked, and I didn't really. My
I
friends
got through
didn't have cell
two
phones.
semesters at NWAC doing nothing but playing Snake through class.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was the greatest thing ever, and that's all I used it for. And then,
Yeah.
you know, I got a Facebook, and then things kind of started changing, and now it's just like, wow. And I think a part of that is because, like, as far as the dating scene goes, guys and girls, I'm sure both, like, they kind of think, well, I'm talking to this person. They're what I'm looking for. But, you know, I think I could get something better. And I think there's always that thought in your mind, like, even if you have exactly what you wanted, exactly what you were looking for in a person right in front of you, had every quality that you admired, and you know, people are so available now that you feel like you can just go onto a social media platform, reach out to somebody else that you find more attractive, you know, more successful, and they would want to form a relationship with you. I think it's just people are just too accessible nowadays.
That was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
That was a good little social media
I'll go deep. I'll go deep.
takedown. I want to talk about all of it.
I'll
I
take
can't
a-
even remember where we started, but well, you were talking about being able to find something better. Is that what social media offers? Is it everything? Everybody's got a better life than you because they're only showing you the beaches and the cool shit. They don't.
You
they
hit
don't-
the nail on the head. Like, it's not.
It's fake.
It's fake.
Yeah.
But people.
You can tell me it's been 3 hours picking up that house before they took that video. Get
Right.
the fuck out of here.
The funny stuff I've been seeing recently is like people filming themselves being like super distraught in the car, like in the airport or whatever. And it shows like right before they start filming, and they're like setting it up in their car.
Oh no! See,
And then they
that's,
just break out into tears, you know. And that's really what happens. Like, people are almost unhinged. It's like, what thought process goes through your mind that you feel like you have to put on like a show
well,
to get
reality
attention?
TV did this to us. Social media
True.
did this to us.
Yeah.
You can get viral by putting a bee costume on your dog these days. You know, we've become. That's been brought up in like 6 straight podcasts since it happened. The Hawk Tua girl. Yeah, what's your take there?
I mean,
That's a failure of the system, right?
yeah,
Why is she famous?
she voiced something that we all kind of know in our minds.
Sure.
That none of us would be brave enough to say
But
in front of
should
the
you say
camera.
it?
But
Should you say it?
I mean, she looked
I
like
thought it was funny.
yeah, it was hilarious.
It was
Like,
hilarious.
She looked like she was, you know, on a strip, like a bar strip, you
Yeah,
know, out
yeah.
drinking, having fun. So in that situation,
Yeah.
why not? She probably didn't think it was going to go anywhere. It was probably some stranger coming up to her
How
saying,
would
"Hey."
you know? But how would you know in this world? I
That's
say
true.
something to somebody on video and it goes viral and the whole world knows me tomorrow.
That's true. I mean,
How do kids grow up in a world like that?
well, and part of me is almost reluctant to have children because I'm terrified of, you know, the world they'll grow up in, and that they won't ever realize. They won't ever
Yeah,
get to
you
know
can't let
that.
that stop you.
Yeah, I know. It's going to happen for me
You'd
one
be
day.
there to steer the ship.
Yeah, true. You can kind of choose what to leave in, what to take out, you know.
It's all about finding that recipe.
But yeah, no, I mean it's kind of scary to me. I think yeah, people are just too accessible, and I honestly think that's kind of what's leading to, you know, the increased need for people to see a therapist, or the increased desire, because they're feeling so anxious, so stressed all the time, and it's because they're so accessible. People are they're able to contact you at any point for any reason, and if you're not available, then that means something's wrong. When back in the day, you know,
Wow.
you'd go, you know, if you wanted to go over to somebody's house back in the day, you called them on their landline, or maybe you didn't. You rode your, you know, 94
Yeah, whatever it was. That
Yeah.
had wheels and
that had
and
wheels,
started.
and then you just showed up and be like, hey man, you want to hang out? Like,
Yeah.
that's how things used to be. And now it's just like, she didn't text me back, and it's been 3 minutes. Like, there must be something going on. It's just too much. It's too much for people to deal with.
It's awful, and it's awful for kids. As adults, you have a choice, but they engineer this stuff to where kids, I don't know if you've read any of the studies on like the dopamine addictions, because these dopamine releases for like short-term gratification. So if it's the next video, what's the next one going to be, right? So these kids are addicted
overstimulation.
to overstimulation.
Yeah.
And then if it's quiet outside, like my kids have friends that come out here and just can't handle it.
Yeah.
It's quiet. It's, they don't know how to play outside.
Yeah.
To just roughhouse and everything's a danger.
Have some imagination or
Yeah.
have some, creativity when it comes to entertaining yourself outside. Yeah.
And if you don't believe the government is behind half of that shit, brainwashing
Don't
kids.
even get me started on the government.
Let's get started on it. All right.
I work for the government, so I can't. I'm.
You can answer this question.
Okay.
I got to put in. It's not quite as sophisticated as getting your pipe out and lighting it, taking a dip of snuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have pictures of George Washington putting in a big fat chaw.
No, but I bet he would. I bet he totally would.
I bet he did. I bet his grandma did. He had a
His
lot of
grandma,
grandmamas.
for sure. I mean, my great grandmother did.
Did snuff?
Oh, she chewed tobacco.
Yeah.
Tobacco. Yeah.
The leaf.
My dad tells stories about, because their house was right above where they grew up, and he would go up there to visit with her and go to Granny's house, and they'd sit on the front porch, and she'd give him a little pinch of that tobacco, and they'd sit there and chew it together. I mean, and tell stories.
Yeah.
That's how they caught up. And he was maybe like 8. But that, back then.
She meant 18, folks.
Yeah, 18. Sorry.
This all, our new catchphrase is, this all happened before we were born.
Yes.
It's just a good thing to state.
Yeah.
But that's funny. So it was kind of like let's hang out.
Yeah. Let's catch up. Let's sit on the front porch, which, honestly, front porch or back porch sitting is one of my favorite activities to this day.
It's better with the guitar, though.
Better with a guitar,
But I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, just
Hanging.
like sitting around, family pulls up a chair, and you're just sitting out there drinking beer, shooting the shit, and you never know what's going to come up, because one story will make you think about another story, and then you just start kind of ricocheting off each other.
Well, this goes back to what you had asked me before we started the podcast, like, why did I do it?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of knew why, because I wanted to rekindle some friendships and get some things on record, some stories on record.
Yeah.
Well, if it doesn't make money, I don't care. But but as I've been doing it, it's been so rewarding. Like if I hadn't done the podcast, I wouldn't have been able to see your set. We wouldn't have been able to, do that song, and I'm hoping to get you and Emma introduced, and just people meeting people and networking around. But it's been so rewarding to just, and people don't just sit down and have conversations anymore.
No, that's
it's
another
all small
thing.
talk, bullshit, and it's very truncated.
Yeah.
When you got 30 seconds to see somebody, what are you talking about?
What do you say? Yeah.
What do you say? But if you got 2 hours,
yeah, you really
sit
get
down
to
and get to know somebody.
Exactly.
Like my dad called me after Rick's podcast. He's like, man, there's a lot of that stuff I didn't know about Rick.
Yeah.
So I certainly didn't either. But
I still need to watch that podcast, by the way, or listen, I guess.
All you gotta have is 2 free hours of time.
Hey, my drive in to work, my drive home.
There you go.
I usually listen to Dateline, but I'll
Do
switch
ya?
it up. Yeah. True crime is like, it's got me in a chokehold, man.
The true crime. What is it with you ladies and the true crime?
I don't know. I honestly
'Cause you
think
know it ain't dudes watching that shit.
some of them do.
Are they?
Some of them do. I honestly.
Then I apologize for stereotyping. But I think you pawned it on them.
I honestly think, and that's probably what happened, honestly. But I think that for women, I think it's kind of the empowerment thing, partially, because we want to know what these motherfuckers are doing to get women in a vulnerable position.
Okay.
And we want to be able to say, fuck you, not today, Satan, and just nick that in the bud real fast.
Okay.
We want to be able to protect ourselves, and knowledge is power. So, we just like to know what people are doing out there, and we also like to solve mysteries.
That makes sense.
You know?
I've learned a lot tonight. from
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
See? My preconception is, what could I learn from a 29-year-old? But over here schooling me.
Yep.
On your perspective.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more based, I think, than most people your age.
Well,
And that might be a lot to attribute to the family you grew up with.
I think so.
That support network, not needing that validation from strangers.
Yeah.
Because that's what social media really is.
It really is. Yeah, validation from strangers. And I've noticed the older I get, the less. Because there was a point in my early 20s where I was like, how many likes did I get on my photo?
Oh, my God.
If I post my boobs, it's definitely going to get over 100 likes for sure.
Right.
But, it's like...
And invite a lot of creepers.
Exactly.
Do you
back
want
then,
that? Like...
I didn't care. It didn't faze me as to, hey, there's a pedophile looking at your pictures, like, now... Now it's like, on Facebook, now I have like over 2,000 friends, and I'm like, ugh, I don't know half these people.
Yeah, I got into because I didn't get on social media until last year. In October.
Good for you.
So I didn't start promoting.
Yeah.
Because I was going to do
There's
this.
There's a purpose there.
There was, but then I got drawn into it. It's like, oh my God.
These
addictive. People are talking about family drama on a fucking...
It's addictive. I mean, it truly
wild.
is.
But I had to really put it down.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this.
People don't set boundaries for themselves for social media consumption nowadays. And it really has bad effects. Like my nephew, who's, I think he is 11 now. Yeah, he's 11. He was diagnosed with autism, I believe, when he was around 3. And, we've seen that develop and him develop as he grows and turns into the man he's going to be. And we've noticed, and his parents have noticed, that when he is subject to a screen, because it's kind of a safe space for him, I think, he doesn't have to have any social interaction, which scares the shit out of him. So in a screen, he has all the control and he's safe. So you give him screen time and he gets addicted to that, and he wants more and more and more and more. And they've noticed the more screen time he has, the worse his behavior outside of screen time is.
Yeah.
So it's
I don't think that's limited to autism, though. I think that's
it's not. No, it's true for everybody.
I think that's true for all kids, because
Yeah.
I've observed that behavior with other kids.
I think it's just maybe he makes it more blatantly obvious because he is so cut and dry, and he doesn't have any... He doesn't understand sarcasm at all. He's just this.
Yeah.
This is how things are. A funny story about him I like to tell is my mom and I stopped at Walgreens one day, and my brother was inside, and we ran into him in there. He said, hey, Arlen's in the truck, but it's locked. And I told him, do not open the door for anybody under no circumstances. So we went out there, and we went out to the truck and like waved at him, and we're talking to him through the windshield. He was like, hey, open the door, buddy. He's like, nope, no. My dad said not to open the door for anybody. Even you, who I know and love, my aunt, my grandma, like, no, not happening.
Not happening.
Which I'm thankful for.
He was under orders.
Yeah. And he
seriously,
he takes it very seriously. So, but yeah, I think honestly, screen time, it doesn't matter what state of mind or what functional ability you have. It's not, too much of it is not healthy for a person, just like everything else. Too much of anything probably isn't good for anybody. But
that's one thing I kept from my parents. There were a lot of things my parents did that I discarded, and, did my own thing. But that was one of them. It was like the limited screen time, because I have an addictive personality as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I put 400 hours on Red Dead Redemption 2 during COVID.
Oh, shit.
Okay, it can be problematic.
It's time for the line.
But because I know that, I don't want my kids to,
Yeah. To succumb.
Well, it becomes a drain on your productivity.
That
you're not doing anything.
Well, and if you think about that even further, like a drain on your productivity kind of turns into a bang on your self-esteem, because you're like,
ultimately it does.
Ultimately,
like, I'm a loser.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here.
I've done nothing.
I'm serious. Like that's another reason I wanted to start the podcast, because like I need to be doing something productive.
Mm-hmm.
I would literally just spend, after the kids go to
Something
bed,
social.
I'd spend 2 hours a night playing video games and drinking beer, and it's like, man, I'm right back in college.
Yeah.
But, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
And now, like, when the night's over, I'm editing videos, I'm posting shit, I'm trying to get things moving.
And you're getting cool stories and ideas into the world.
Oh my God, the stories. If you watch one podcast, people who are listening now, and if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. It's episode 30 with William Harding. We filmed it last night. My God. Shock and awe. I've never seen a person, and I love this dude. He just came from a totally different background than me, and
well, to some people, it may not be shock and awe. You know, they may be like, my brother.
No, I think he'll resonate. When we stop recording, I'm going to show you just a minute of this podcast. I can't wait to watch it. I haven't seen it yet.
Hell
I
yeah.
always watch them once, just before they air, just to make sure
you didn't miss anything.
So we get wild in here sometimes, or
Yeah.
people's wives hit record after the podcast is over, Steven.
I honestly don't know how many followers you have. I don't know how.
I don't either.
vast your-
Somebody's watching it. We've hit like 3,000 views and 400 viewing hours. Which
Oh,
is
wow.
a ridiculous number.
Wow.
In 2 months.
I should have looked that up before I agreed to do this. No, I'm just kidding.
Now I remember hitting 20 views on like one of the first podcasts and being like, oh my God, 20 people watched 5 minutes of this 2-hour thing. And now they're hitting 200, you know. So it's like,
Wow.
you're getting feedback.
Hell yeah.
What sucks is that you want the feedback like in the episode,
Yeah.
but everybody's watching it knows me, so they just text me.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments.
Make it look like people are watching this. Somebody is.
Have you tried the lime in the beer yet?
Nope. Well, I'm having a peach.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't be
I'm
good.
I'm not doing lime and peach. But after this peach, I will try it.
Gotta hit it up. It's good. Even if I had, that beer salt they make that's supposed to go on top, it's like usually obnoxiously like lime flavored or citrus. You just like put it around the can. What I also like doing is tahini
Tahini.
around the rim of a beer can.
Bring it in just a little at you. Man, that's so unprofessional. I get so mad at people when their ringers go off on this show, and then it happens to me, and it's like...
I keep mine on silent 24/7, so we're safe, I think.
Well, if Nicole's listening, every time I go on your podcast, your phone goes off like 19 times. And it drives me nuts, but hey, I'm a hypocrite 'cause it just happened to me. And I don't even need this thing.
Yeah.
So, like, I'll keep it on me, like, especially if my kids are gone, I'll keep it close.
Mm-hmm.
And so my dad's called while we've been doing podcasts, but he's short and sweet.
Yeah.
Like, I can answer it on a pod.
Get
Like,
to the
one
point.
question, answer, boom, we're gone.
Done. Do you say love you bye or?
We're not a
love you
only in moments where it means something.
Gotcha. I feel like that's typical.
His
for-
parents did not say it at all. Neither one of them.
Really?
Neither one.
Wow.
Whereas if my boys get out of the house without saying that to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
son,
You're in trouble.
well, they'll get up in the morning if I'm working from home and not come give me a kiss in the morning. I'm like, hey,
Aw.
why didn't you?
Are you mad at me?
Yeah. Are you mad at me? No. I'm the affectionate one. Affectionate
I mean,
in my family. Like,
that's another thing. I feel like in my experience with developing like the really strong friendships I have now is that I've noticed my relationship with my family is so like rooted in my identity that I would never be the type of person that would decide to leave home and go like a far, far away place to find myself. Like I was never going to be that person.
well, some people don't have to find themselves. Like, I don't feel like finding myself ever laid outside Northwest Arkansas. Like, I'm going to
Yeah.
find myself where I grew up. Like,
Right. Well,
everything
and
I need is here.
like where I grew up is literally a part of my soul. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to the point where I've bought land there, I've decided I want to live there for the rest of my life if I can make it work. And
But what a beautiful thing. Not everybody has that.
exactly, and that's
And a lot
like
of people
that's what I've
really
noticed.
want that.
That's what I've noticed. Like, my friends, they'll be like, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Like, we're going to the lake, or and I go out and do fun stuff. I'm not trying to say that, but I get out of the house. But what I mean is, like, I am way more ingrained in, like, family time than I've noticed other people in my generation from other areas are.
I don't think most people want to be around family at all. There's so much drama.
And that's what gets me. Like, my family is so fucking calm. Like, I would much rather be around my family than, like, almost anybody else.
That's why the holidays are so stressful to so many people.
That's
They
true.
don't want to see their family. They don't want to go to the work party with the people that they work with and see every day, right? It's kind of, it's great that you have a family that is a family.
Right.
But I think I would count your close friends in that group,
Yeah. I mean, they're part of my family, too, in a way.
Yeah. Family's not just blood.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of people do bend over backwards for a lot of people that just don't matter just because they're blood, and it really twists them.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely has that. The boundaries get so muddy, like, as far as what's healthy for you and what isn't.
Yeah.
And how the length that you would go to make that person happy or proud of you. It can get super muddy with family, and I think a lot of family members take advantage of that, especially if they're in a position of authority. Like a mother or father figure, if they know that they have you, underneath their thumb, and they're like, I can make this kid of mine do whatever I want. And in the end, it results in the kid, like, having this crazy internal conflict or, moral war with themselves because they're like, fuck, why did I do this?
Oh, I know so many kids who have gone through exactly that.
Yeah, I mean...
they live for their parents' dream for them.
Right.
Or they do what they're,
what they feel like their parents want them to do.
Yeah. It's a heavy...
It's a heavy burden to carry.
I never carried that burden.
I never did either. I mean, honestly,
So I don't completely understand it, but I know that it happens.
Not to say that, like, I definitely value my parents' opinions, and I take them into consideration, like, especially if I'm making a big decision. First two people I'll call, my mom and dad.
Sure.
Because I know more than likely they've experienced what I'm going through, and they can offer some good insight. But also, I trust their judgment, and I trust their values, and I trust their morals, because I know both of them are fucking great people.
But were they pretty transparent and open with you growing up?
So...
Is that where that comes from? I'm just trying
yes. And I told this story to you earlier, but I'll tell it again for the pod. So, growing up, like, my mom and dad were married until I was about 9 or 10 years old, I think. And, we spent our summers, or when the weather was nice, we would go camping. We would go to Silver Dollar City. We'd go to the river constantly. We floated the river. I remember floating the river on a fucking blow-up air mattress with my mom behind me, like, let's fucking go. And the whole family is just like, awesome. In a line, and like, but
hey, if we have time, I'll get to the time I went canoeing in Braun Overby's OU canoe on an Arkansas river. That was a miserable fucking trip. But anyway.
But one of my most memorable things, and I think, like, it's crazy to say this nowadays because people would never take their kids to a music festival nowadays. At least in my mind, I wouldn't think they would. Maybe they do. I don't know. More power to you. No judgment. But when I was about 10, well, it had to be before that. I had to be like maybe 8 or 9 because my mom and dad were still together. I went to Route 66 Music Festival, and I think it was either in St. Louis or Joplin, Missouri at the time. And Lynyrd Skynyrd was one of the headliners. They played like the late night show. And so I vividly remember like being in the crowd for Lynyrd Skynyrd as a small child, like everybody's towering over me, and I just remember like everybody trying to push ahead to get closer and closer and closer, and we're just in a like big mob of people, and I just am sobbing, like terrified, because people are starting to like throw chairs in the crowd, and I'm like,
oh wow,
where am I?
That's not where I thought you were going with that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was terrified because I don't think I was old enough to appreciate Lynyrd Skynyrd just yet and all their glory.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I fucking love Lynyrd Skynyrd now. It didn't like cause like a PTSD response in me, but like as like a kid, like, like I was terrified because I didn't know what was going on. And people were getting violent. And
it's like January 6th. It's a child.
yeah. But
People
that's
are getting crazy over here.
And, you know, like, they would have never subjected me to that, like, on purpose. Like, they thought that I could handle myself. Obviously, I couldn't. But, no, like, and I'm grateful they took me because that was fucking cool. That's fucking cool to say, like, I
Even
saw
though you
Leonard
were
Skinner.
terrified.
Yeah, even though I was terrified. And I remember, you know, earlier in that music festival, Lone Star also played. It was kind of like a weird mix, you know, of country,
So what do?
rock.
I just squeeze this right in.
Squeeze it in first, you know, try to make it as best you can into the can.
So you go straight into the can. Are you good at this?
I mean, I don't think anybody's good at it. You just kind of do your best.
Okay.
You know, and it'll drip down into the can, and then once you're done and you feel like you've squeezed all the juice you can out of it, then you like maneuver it into the beer.
Oh no.
Usually
I
I
won't
would-
be doing that.
Usually I would wash the limes. I didn't, and I'm probably contaminating my
I'm not
beers,
getting
but-
pulp in my beard.
Oh,
No.
You're not a pulp guy.
Oh god. My mom used to get pulp orange juice, like
Dude,
extra pulp.
I love pulp.
It was like sucking sea monkeys through a straw. It was so nasty. To this day, like if I even hit an ounce of pulp, just gives me gag reflex. I was
dude.
Sunny D generation
I love
too.
pulp and orange juice and, you know, lime and beers, you know.
Hold
I
on,
love it.
I'm getting ready to have my first lime and beer.
I'm ready.
As much as a redneck as I am, I'm surprised I haven't
Yeah.
done this before.
And it's in a natty light.
Mm.
Okay.
Oh, that's quite good.
Told you.
It's pretty tasty.
I told you. It just adds that little you know?
Not bad.
That little edge.
Not bad.
If you're a lime fan, it's worth a shot.
I like the hot shit.
Tahin's not really spicy at all. It's just more of a kick. But I am like a huge Cholula advocate. Cholula hot sauce.
You like Cholula better than Tapatio?
Yes.
Interesting.
Cholula.
Sell me on this, because they're
Okay.
both great. So
Okay.
Have you had Tapatio?
Yes.
Okay.
I've explored the hot sauce.
Okay, nice.
I'm not like hot ones. Like I'm not at that level
No,
of
that's
expertise.
just pain.
That's pain.
I like flavor over
Yeah.
pain.
And you should totally do that once on this podcast if you won't get sued.
Do a hot ones?
Do a hot ones.
We'd call it something different.
Like a redneck hot ones. Yeah. And just start with like Cholula.
Why don't we do that with you? Be the first one.
I'm
We'll
down.
have a few. We'll have a few people. We can see who can last the longest. We'll keep
Yeah.
amping it up.
And whoever breaks first, they gotta get the fuck out of here.
I agree. Just break people down. No, we're always coming up with fun ideas on the podcast, and it's like now we got to do them.
Yeah. No, definitely. We need to do like a hot wings thing and just
That'd be fun.
yeah, do all kinds of hot sauces.
You gotta meet Stillwell. You gotta get everybody loves Stillwell. That man, such a good buddy. There's a picture of me and him crying, holding on each other over there after our last football game in Huntsville, our senior year.
Huntsville, Arkansas?
Well, that was where the game was.
Oh.
We were Farmington. We played over in Huntsville. It was our last game, and we both just broke down into tears and hugged each other. They got
Hugged
a
it
picture
out?
of it. Yeah, but
Nice. Yeah, no, Cholula.
yeah, let's hear the Cholula.
My brother Josh kind of like introduced me to Cholula, like just the original hot sauce, and I was like, damn, like this is really good. I like the flavor. I like
that
the
bottle,
like
too.
Yeah,
That
that bottle.
bottle.
And that like vinegar to spice like ratio in there. I'm a vinegar fiend. I love it. Like even barbecue sauce. I love a good vinegar barbecue sauce. But
Have you had Stubbs?
yes. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
What's at the top of your list?
I just recently discovered, and I think it's Blues Hog. I may have to Google that.
Where'd you find that?
Harps and Elkins, because that's
where I get all my shit.
the one
Harps.
I
shove
shop
at
at.
Harps. That Harps and Elkins.
Yeah, so I found it there, and I originally bought it for Christmas dinner because my brother smoked a brisket last Christmas, and
That lime sticks with it for a minute too.
it's good. It's good.
Damn good.
But I bought this like 3 versions of this Blues Hog sauce, and I'm so sorry if I'm getting that name wrong. I think it's Blues Hog, but they had like 3 different versions, like the original, and then like the Champions barbecue, which obviously got to get that one, and then I think there was like a mesquite or something, like a smoky. So I got all 3, and the Champions barbecue, it's like a kind of an aqua blue color. The label is, man. It's fucking delicious.
So this is possibly Blues Hog, but we're not quite sure.
Not quite sure. I want to say I'm like 90% sure it's Blues Hog.
If we had a producer, we'd look that up, but
Yeah.
we're not going to look it up. So do that on your own. And then comment in the video.
Yeah, tell me if I'm wrong. I can accept it. But if you know what I'm talking about, then you know
Or if
it's
you've
good
had a
shit.
Blues Hog experience, share it with us. We'll talk about it next time.
But back to Cholula. I'm going to circle back around.
You will not let go of the Cholula.
I'm so tangential right now, but I bought a variety pack from Amazon, and it had like all 6
Did you have
flavors.
the garlic one in there?
Dude, the chili garlic.
That was a wild one.
That one's amazing.
There's nothing like that.
But one of my favorite ones is the Verde. I don't know, I'm not saying
That's
that
the
correctly.
green one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
It's good shit. Especially on breakfast. Like if you're putting on eggs and stuff in the morning.
It's the color and texture. I don't care what it tastes like.
Man.
I don't care if it tastes like a crunchy Taco Bell taco.
But it's just liquid. It's like
I know.
hot sauce.
I know. It's a visceral reaction for me. I can't. Fucking avocado. Out of here.
You don't like green things?
Out of here. No, it's mushy. Not having that.
I mean, if you find the right avocado, it's
Yeah,
pretty-
okay. Let's stop. I was just about to say I'm so tired of hearing people say, "Oh, you'll like this avocado
if it's like
recipe."
firm enough.
I don't care how firm it is. It's a disgusting texture.
Okay. All right.
Like
Respect.
if it tasted like a Jim's Razorback pizza, I could not eat it.
Dude, Jim's Razorback pizza is delicious.
They fucked us on the one on Martin Luther King or 62.
Oh, well.
That I went there to the kids' birthday parties. We had parties at that gym. Do you remember it? It's on the right on the bypass there on 62, Martin Luther King.
I should.
You might be too young to remember it, but
I'm thinking of the one on Mission.
yeah, that one's been gone.
Wait,
a
or is
while.
that Tim's?
That
I get
was a
Tim's and Jim's mixed up. As anybody would.
Very different pizzas, though.
Very.
Tim's on the Square is great, though.
Tim's is
My
great on the
grandparents
square.
used to take me there at around Christmas time.
Yeah.
And the lights were out. Really cool memory growing up.
Hell yeah.
Still love it to this day. I take my kids up there on Christmas, too.
Very nice.
That was a tradition that was handed down that you don't
Nice.
really intend.
Yeah.
You know, it's
You
like,
just
oh,
kinda
this was
keep it
cool when
going.
I was growing up.
I bet they'll enjoy it.
Oh, they do.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
What kind of traditions you all have? You have family traditions, like holiday traditions?
Not
I keep
really.
waiting for this lime to go away. It permeates.
It's gonna stick.
We'll see.
If you enjoy it, I mean, that's great.
Even if you have to double up on the lime, it's worth it.
It's yeah. Yeah.
I'm become a lime
it just
snob.
It just kind of like levels up that light beer, takes it to
And
another.
Lord knows that light beer could use a leveling up once in a while.
Sometimes. I mean, if you're on your like 4th one, you're like, man, this still tastes like Busch Light. I kind of wish. Which, hey, I, if anybody takes anything away from this podcast at all, please take away that I love Busch Light. I love it so fucking hard. It's my fucking bread and butter.
Maybe I don't want you to meet Stillwell, that motherfucker, and his Busch lattes, as he calls them. The fuck
Busch
out.
Light, I love their branding. I love their, I love the way that they advertise themselves. I like their values as a fucking company.
Dude, I've still got up on. This is kind of sad. I don't think you can see it on the camera, but I got like 6 years worth of hunting cans up there.
Oh,
When those hunting cans came out
if
in the
a couple
fall,
of those
I
like
was like,
disappear,
man, I got to get that can.
Dude, my Uncle Tim has like a whole wall in his shop.
Yes.
And it's literally like every
Yes.
classic can. Like, you
That's
haven't
awesome.
seen that can since like the 80s.
I know. Well, they changed
And they're
them.
unopened. They're
Tasty.
unopened.
Nice.
You know, I saw this, speaking back of social media again, but it does hold some good things in it. I saw this video. This kid went into his grandma's, like, shop and went into the refrigerator and pulled out, like, the bottom, like, crisper drawer. And they were just, like, fresh, like, not like 1980s, probably, 90s maybe, Busch Light cans. Just, like, 12 of them. Like, haven't been opened, just Busch Lights ready to fucking drink in the crisper drawer.
Interesting.
If I discovered that...
Did your family drink Busch Light?
Yes, my dad did. I kind of learned more about them as I was drinking more and more beer, like light beer specifically, and I kind of tested them all out. Did some exploring. My oldest brother is a firm Natty Ice drinker.
The Natty Ice.
Natty Ice. The Screaming
Man,
Eagles.
that's an adventurous man.
The Screaming Eagles.
How do you hold back the throttle after
I mean,
five
you
or
really
six of
can't.
those?
You really can't. Now,
To me, that's a dangerous beer. As somebody who likes his beer.
he takes it very seriously.
Okay.
You know,
I
and
mean, I respect the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Already.
yeah. I mean,
if you can handle the ice,
yeah.
you can handle anything.
That's his. I mean, he gets like a 30 rack.
Damn, son. Who is this man? We need to get him on here and talk about this.
I bet he'd come. Bet he'd come hang out. But yeah, I just, you know, Busch Light to me, like, it's most of my family on my dad's side and my grandpa on my mom's side, like, they all drank Busch Light religiously through my childhood. And when I started drinking it, when I started drinking in general, I like would try it out. And it's just always, to me, it's been a reliable light beer. It's always going to taste good.
It's like a Toyota, man.
It's like a fucking Yoda.
With 300,000 miles on
Yes.
it. It's going to get you there.
Yeah. And it's going to taste good. But it just happens to taste better if you put a little lime in it. You know? It just
If one
gives
of
a
these
little
light
bit-
beer companies was smart, they'd just clip what you just said and put that on an ad.
I mean,
Insert
For a
light beer here,
price.
put a little lime, right?
for a price, you could sponsor me.
We got to make this go viral. The lime and the light beer. That could class up the South in a minute.
Yeah, put some tahini around the edge and put a lime in it, and then you're really talking.
All right. Back to the political question I was going to ask you.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So.
Wait. Before you ask me this.
Is this Cholula again?
Before you ask me this, no, this is not Cholula. My Cholula is done.
Oh, we're done with the Cholula.
Yeah. I do have to obey the Hatch Act, so I cannot condone or portray my political views publicly while still being a government employee. That is against the rules. But
Okay. I don't think this is in the bounds of that.
okay.
Is there any way in hell somebody in America should be able to get a shot at 130 yards? You probably hunt.
I do.
130 yards is nothing.
No.
Is there any way somebody should be able to get a shot at an ex-president at 130 yards in clear view after 4 minutes of fucking home YouTubers saying there's a man on the roof with a gun?
I think I'm going to have to plead the fifth on this one.
All right.
I'm going to be careful. I love my job.
All right.
And for those...
Thank God there's people out there who do. And if you're one of them, leave it in the comments because I want to know you exist.
I have my opinions. I do. But I'm going to be careful on this one.
The pod will be over soon. We can...
Yeah, I'll tell you about it afterwards. But if being public, I
respect that.
Yeah. For those...
So the Cholula garlic, though.
You circled back.
I'm trying to save you.
Well, I was just going to say...
You're over here making excuses.
No, I was just going to say, like, I'm a social worker
I get it. I'm just joking.
for a government agency. So, I just have to be careful. They actually
respect
just
that.
sent us an email about the Hatch Act. Like, we're not supposed to donate to political campaigns or voice our support of any political campaigns publicly. We can feel however we want to feel. We just can't publicly state the way we feel.
I respect it. Totally respect it.
Yeah, but Cholula garlic, chili garlic.
Those are different.
It's a chili.
Different.
No, it's just the chili garlic. That's the flavor you're
Oh,
referring to.
chili. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's Cholula brand. Yeah, it's
Yes.
chili garlic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't. See, you're kind of being the. She's like the. I was talking about the wine snobs earlier. She's this fucking Cholula snob over here. She's like, hold on. We're talking about the chili garlic as the official flavor.
It's just. It is
Getting
definitely
fired
one
up.
of my favorites.
But there's nothing else like it that I've found. You like vinegar, though. You
Do
said.
love vinegar.
Taco Bell red sauce. You familiar with this?
Like enchilada sauce?
Well, it's the red sauce. They do put it on the enchilada.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I prefer the verde sauce. But
You like the green sauce.
that's just
you
a
like the
personal
avocados.
preference. Yeah. That's just personal preference. To each their own.
You like the lime. You like the green things.
I do. And I love Mexican food. My question is, what do you get if you're going to La Huerta on college? What do you get
I mean, as food.
as food?
I mean, that's
as your
Tex-Mex.
entree?
Like, what would I get?
Yeah.
I like tacos and Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
Tacos and burritos.
Okay.
Enchiladas.
Okay. You don't have like a certain thing you go for?
Well, like, if I'm going to a Mexican restaurant, I'm going to Taco Bell. I almost got her.
I almost did a spit take.
Almost. Steven, you're still the only one. Almost happened, but not quite. No, I if I go to like Gabriella's or Las Palmas, I always get the taco plate.
Okay.
Crunchy tacos.
Okay. Crunchy tacos. Okay.
But that's Tex-Mex. That's not real Mexican.
That's not real Mexican food. I get it. Yeah.
You're into real Mexican. Like authentic Mexican. Because I can't even pronounce any of that shit, so I wouldn't know what it was anyway.
There used to be that, and there may still be. I haven't been down there. I don't think it's the same thing as it used to be. Down there off, it's in that same shopping center off MLK as Mexico Viejo is, but it's
Yeah.
just like a few doors down.
Yeah.
You used to be able to get authentic Mexican food there. I don't know. I haven't been there probably in like a decade, so I can't say if they still serve it there. But that was the most authentic Mexican food I've probably ever had.
But you prefer the authentic to like the Tex-Mex.
It was delicious. I think I'm more comfortable with the Tex-Mex. You know, I'm just like used to that, so I know what to order. But if there was a good restaurant that popped up that served authentic Mexican food, I would definitely prefer that over going to Tex-Mex. And if it was like convenient.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to food.
So I've stated this before. I have the palate of a 6-year-old boy.
Oh,
You got hamburgers, tacos, pizza, chicken nuggets.
wow.
That's kind of like my range.
Okay.
I branch out.
No judgment.
I branch out all the time,
No judgment.
but then I retreat.
I
I do like sushi.
do you eat the raw fish?
No.
Okay,
I'm safe. I'm safe.
I don't know if I'd call that sushi. I mean, it is.
Bitch, I know how to use chopsticks. I learned for those California rolls.
The fake crab and all.
I was this redneck. I started working at this corporation, and they're like, "Oh, you haven't had sushi?" And I'm like, "No." And so I'm like, "God, I'm going to learn how to use chopsticks before I go and embarrass myself." So I started just messing around with them.
I mean, it's fun to use them if you know how to. You kind of feel
They are
you
fun.
kind of feel fancy. You're
I
like,
even eat my salad with them at Shogun.
oh,
And I'm like, nobody else is eating this. I see everybody else getting the fork out on the salad. You
I'm-
American motherfuckers.
I'm just gonna leave. I don't feel comfortable anymore.
surprised you ever did to begin with.
No, I love raw fish. I love the texture of raw fish. I'm a fan. But
You noodler? You seem like you
I
might have
wish
noodled.
I have not noodled. But would I? Probably not, because I'm terrified of snakes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And most of the time, when they reach their hand in those holes, like, I'm just like, they're gonna come out with a fucking water moccasin, like, attached to their pinky finger or something, you know? Like, I'm sure it's happened. It's had to have happened.
So in Minecraft, I bought some alligator snapping turtles from this guy in Stratford,
Continue.
Missouri. Anyway, so I've been up to his farm a couple times. Anyway, dude's amazing. He's got
Yeah.
some crazy stories. I want to get him on the pod, but he's not one to roam. But he's got this pond. Oh, it's like 8 acres. I don't know. It's massive. It's got like 800 snapping turtles in it.
Wow.
And he goes in there and he
I just
grabs
sounded like
the
Owen
eggs.
Wilson.
Wow. I just showed my son Wedding Crashers last weekend for the first time.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just had to have some self-awareness there.
Wow. No, but just reminded me. But we were talking about noodling, but like these alligator snappers are up underneath the water and they dig these little caverns up under the bank to lay their eggs in. Mm-hmm. And he's out there barefoot, just grabbing eggs. He's never been bit.
And snapping turtles will like take off a digit.
They could, but they're alligator snappers, not common snappers.
Oh.
That's what we have up here, are the vicious serpentine motherfuckers. Aggressive.
Yeah.
These are the ones that embed themselves down in the mud and open their mouths and just lay there.
Just wait for stuff to hit.
That little, they got that worm-looking tongue.
Yeah. No, we go to the river a lot in the summers. That's kind of our... me and my brothers, my family, our neighbors who are basically like family. We go to the river religiously in the summer, and there's this one spot we go to, and we set up canopies, and if I can take the grill, and we barbecue, and we call them river days. But I'm always terrified. It's this one hole of water, and it's spring fed, so it stays cold until late summer, and it stays clean until late summer. Even when the river's not running through, it's always full of water. And I'm always terrified, especially in the later summer when you're getting in there. I always wear my chacos in there because you just never know when you're going to step on a fucking turtle. And, one snap and your toe's gone because they're fucking vicious. Like,
they are that.
This big. Is it allowed to kill snapping turtles?
Common snappers, yeah. Alligators are not endangered but protected.
You would think alligator snapping turtles, by their name, would be more vicious than regular snapping turtles.
You would, and they look more vicious. They got the real sharp spikes on their shells. Mm-hmm. But completely different. It's the nerdiest thing I could possibly say. It's
Is this a Scentsy? What is that? It's just a lamp?
I mean, it's a bald eagle lamp.
I mean, I know, yeah. I mean, it's fucking cool, but I thought it was maybe like a candle underneath. It feels warm.
It does feel warm. I told my kids that. They tell me I'm crazy. I'm like, because I'll be over here like stroking this eagle. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, it's warm. It's like from the 70s or something.
It's
like
fucking
it's
cool.
got one of those old halogen lamps that just
fucking
is
cool.
a fire hazard. But hey, we'll leave it on.
Leave it on 24/7.
Exactly. And hope it didn't burn the house down. But by God, if somebody came in here to rob this place and they saw this lamp shining through the darkness,
it would be the first thing.
They're going to turn around.
They're going to turn around? I was going to say it'd be the first thing they stole. If it were me.
Oh, well, I could go that route too.
Do you have ducks?
Yeah, lots.
Your chickens were very friendly when I came up here. I was like,
yeah,
whoa!
I used to have to speak on a Zoom meeting during COVID, and like all you could hear was ducks. It's like, I'm sorry, is this man talking, or is this a fucking duck convention over there? What's happening?
Ducks Unlimited. Yeah. Taking it to a whole new level.
I gotta say, the lime hits all the way down.
It's delicious, is it not?
It's real.
It's real.
I was wrong.
Try it at home, unless you're...
Yeah, this is one you could try at home, kids. By kids, I mean if you're over 30 and live in your own home. But
21 is the legal drinking age.
Yeah, I don't trust them.
I'm not over 30 yet.
Give you a pass.
Yeah, okay.
You got a koozie, so that...
I did get a koozie. I'm super pumped about that.
Hey, Stillwell, I know you're going to watch this later. This is much easier to take around family than
I want one of those.
I have one left. It's yours. The Gen 1s. Yes. Not the one Still gave me, but I don't know how to tell the difference.
I'm honored, honestly.
I'll give it to you. There's one more peach in there, I think. It's yours.
I'd prefer the lime, I think.
Well, the peach is so sweet. You got to have a few in between the peach.
Yeah.
It's like, what do they call it? Sweet and savory.
I will say...
Every now and then you got to go back to the sweet.
Peach is a great summer beer, but the best summer beer.
If you say apple.
No. The best summer beer
Talking
that
to you, Austin.
the best Bush Apple was okay. It was okay.
It was
just okay. But the best summer beer I have found is Bud Light. I know. Orange.
Well, hell, with your job, you can't even talk about Bud Light.
They
You can't even bring it up.
Well, they don't make Bud Light Orange anymore. They discontinued it. But I promise you, talk about a 90-degree day. You can have one of those.
You sure?
Yeah. Talk about a 90-degree day. You're mowing. Okay? It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
The dew has come off
The dew's come off the grass, and you're out there on your zero turn, and you're blaring fucking Billy Ray Cyrus on your fucking headphones, and you're like, okay, here we go. It's time. And you pull out a fresh, cold Bud Light Orange from the fridge. That son of a bitch hits. You know, have you heard that phrase?
I love that story, and it doesn't even matter what you crack open, really.
Really, I mean, but
man, you put me there.
yeah,
You're about to mow. It's 90
you're about
degrees.
to mow.
You want to
It's
crack
fucking
open
90
something
degrees.
cold.
The sun's like in the middle of the fucking sky.
Crack open
You
a
put your
Bud Light.
sunscreen on if you give a shit. A lot of people don't. I'm discovering as I get older. A lot of people want skin cancer, I guess. I don't know, but
You like the sunscreen?
I like to douse up with maybe like a SPF 15.
That's a low dose, right?
You know, like a low dose, so I can, because I used to be the kid that was always dark and tan in the summer, and now it's just like my skin is just like, I'm not going to soak up any color for you. Nope, I might get a little red because of the heat, but you're just going to be pale. And so I've succumbed to using like fake tanner and stuff because, you know, they frown on tanning bed usage and all that jazz. Skin
But why
cancer.
the fake tanner?
Well, there's just something that boosts, and maybe this is just women. It's probably dudes too. I know it's got to be dudes too. That if you're tan, it's just like an instant mood booster. It's like you look like you've been like to the beach for a week, and like, or you've just been out like at the river consistently, and you've just been soaking up the sun. And I'll say
I cannot
this.
speak for all of mankind, and maybe that is a man thing as well, but I've never once thought that.
So you're telling me that if you put on a pair of shorts right now,
I don't fucking...
Would you wear shorts?
If you saw the skin on this leg, you would have to have like 6 pairs of sunglasses on, or it would blind you.
So, what if your legs were tan? Would you wear shorts?
No, because I'm not willing to lose the pants to gain the tan.
I'm just saying,
no matter what I'm doing,
if-
this part of my body is never safe out here.
even if you didn't have to lose the pants to get tan, in the process of getting tan, if you were just tan, would you wear shorts?
No.
But you're telling me the reason you
legs
don't wear
have
shorts
atrophied
now.
because I wear the jeans. I wear the jeans because I live in the country, because you're always walking in fucking rose bushes and thorns and blackberries.
It depends on the
and
outing, I think.
There's fucking knives and bombs my kids have planted in the fucking yard. I don't know what kind of explosives are going to go off around me. I certainly don't want to be unprotected at my calves. So there's my explanation.
Unprotected calves. You have to say it, calves.
Calves? I don't like... My kids laugh if I'm ever, like, in a robe or something. You know? Come down on Christmas morning in a robe. I don't think I've ever done that to them.
So you never expose your calves as a solid
I
roll.
think one of my kids saw my calves within the last year or two, and I don't remember the situation, but I don't
Do they
like
see a
them being
therapist
seen.
now?
They're in a special home for the paralyzed. No, I do. It was a very expletive reaction that they had.
One, this is just for girls. I'm sure some guys feel this way too. If they show
I don't
their
know.
calves, I don't know.
I don't know.
People are different.
I'm not a calf
Everybody's
expert.
different. But like,
Her new book, Expert of the Calves, is coming out July 1st, 2025.
if you can't tone it, tan it. fat looks better tan. That is the...
Do you think men agree with that look on women?
Some probably do. Some, and probably the good ones, don't give a shit.
I don't think ladies need to do that shit. Just me.
Well, hold on. I don't do it for men.
I'm not saying you do.
You know, I do it for me. Like,
Sure.
I just feel like I
It
like
makes you
being
feel
tan.
better. It makes you feel better.
It makes me feel better. Like, I like being tan. I feel more comfortable if I'm tan. I just feel like, you know, I can see my shin and it's not as wide as a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11. Like, I feel more confident. But
Well, start mowing the yard more.
I mean, I do. I'm just telling you, my skin doesn't soak up the sun like it used to. We even got a pool. There's something about your skin when you're a kid. Like, you just soak up all that vitamin D and all those UV and UVA, UVB rays. And, like, as you get older and you get more sheltered, your skin just gets used to being inside.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah. I mean, I work 8 to 4:30 every day inside, and I have no windows in my office. I call our office the Chamber of Secrets, because we're back in, like, I work in a very old hospital, and we're back in, like, an old X-ray room. No lie. So, like, the doors. Oh, he's asking for another lime, everybody.
I'm gonna do another line here because this was. But we gotta come back. Tell your story. We're gonna come back.
But the main thing was, I just call it the Chamber of Secrets. We're back in the very back. It's kind of like the dungeons, you know, like nobody really knows where we are, which as a social worker, you're pretty glad for that because people come to you for a lot of shit. And, there's no windows. The doors are lined with lead, and I'm pretty sure the walls are too because it used to be an old X-ray room. We don't get cell phone service because there's lead. And so we just kind of... We hide out back there like vampires.
So, Chamber of Secrets.
Chamber of Secrets.
Is a Harry Potter reference.
Dude.
You seem like a country gal.
I'm a fucking Harry Potter connoisseur.
Oh, she admitted it. Yes.
I'm a fucking Harry Potter nerd all the way.
You gave it away with that
Chamber
one
of
phrase.
Secrets, yeah.
I knew that wasn't random. So
No,
how did
Harry-
you experience Harry Potter the first time?
I was very big into reading.
This is a segment we call Rednecks Talking About Nerd Shit.
So I'm thinking about doing a tiny home. I have some land for sale that once I sell it, if it sells for what I want to get out of it, then it'll be enough to pay off the other parcel I have that is way more worth keeping. And at that point, I'll be able to get rid of my big payment and, you know, do what I want to do. But I'm kind of afraid to build a house in today's day and age. So
Those interest rates are a little nasty.
ooh, yeah, I'm gonna let the political climate cool down a little bit. I can say that. I can say that. I can say that. Yeah, I'm not endorsing any candidate. So, but yeah, Harry
But
Potter.
I can. Trump. All right. She didn't say it. I did. Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
So how did you get into that?
I was a bookworm when I was like 5th and 6th grade, and that's when I first discovered Harry Potter. Was like in 5th grade, and just started reading the books and fell in love with it. And my family wasn't like, my mom was open to me watching whatever she thought was like age appropriate, as long as it didn't show anything crazy. She wasn't like, oh, it's witchcraft, so you can't watch it for religious reasons.
So you didn't have that.
I didn't have that looming over my head. But yeah, so I started watching the movies and just like fucking fell in love with it, man. It was just like the best story about good versus evil and friendship and love and how love conquers all and, you know, all this jazz. And they were in the process of coming out. Like, I followed along as they released the books until the very last book. And I remember going, there used to be like this bookstore / movie store in the mall where I think Bed Bath & Beyond, or not Bed Bath & Beyond, but Bath & Body Works is now.
Dalton?
Was it
B. Dalton?
Maybe. I can't remember the name of it, but they released the last Harry Potter book, and we were there, like, in line, ready to get the copy, me and my mom. and got the copy, got a special bookmark, and I think I read that like within 2 days. I mean, probably.
So how old were you when those were coming out?
In 5th grade, that was in 2005. So I would have been, I started school in, let's see, I was born in 94. I started when I was 4, so I started in 98. So in 2005, I would have been 7, around 7. And, right?
So
Is that
were
right?
you able?
Did I do the math
I'm
right?
trusting your math. I wasn't doing it along with you. I hope you.
I think that's right.
Hey, leave in the comments.
I'm not.
But so at 7, were you reading the first book, like
At 7, I was reading the first book. Yeah.
on your own, or was you like reading that with somebody?
Nope.
So you were rocking it at 7.
I was
Nice.
rocking it at 7. I've always been pretty good with like English, and I'm not saying that.
I gotta clip that one out.
Yeah.
I've always done as good with my English.
I've always been pretty good with like language and like what's the term? Writing, creative writing. Like that's always kind of been my little niche.
You write stories?
And reading. I used to, and which is why I want to try to write songs. I haven't ventured into that realm yet because it's very intimidating.
That surprises me.
It's very intimidating.
How so? You can do literally whatever the fuck you want.
Okay, so what messes me up is like I'll start trying to write words down. Like I'll start trying to write or thinking about writing a song. And the minute I think about the words, I think about the melody I want to put to it. But I can't help but hear, because I'm such I'm such a music ear, I can't help but hear other melodies and other songs in my head. So my fear is I'm going to like write this song and it's going to sound just like another song, because that's how I feel like my brain works.
I always write lyrics last.
Really?
Always.
Okay.
And that's my experience.
Yeah.
Like,
That's probably the smart way to do it.
well, it was by accident because it wasn't important. Like, I was growing up with Nirvana lyrics. Libido Mosquito, I mean, it's not exactly going to win the fucking Nobel Prize for, it just wasn't important. It's like, oh, Kurt Cobain can write a fucking $1 million or $1 million fucking seller with those lyrics.
Yeah.
So it's not that important. So I'd always focus on, like, the riff and the melody. And then somebody told me my lyrics sucked. And I remember it was one of those, like, nuh-uh.
That's rude.
And then you go back and you're, like, reading them to validate yourself and, like, God damn, that's awful.
Yeah,
And so
well,
it made me think about it a little bit more. But because I'd always been in the habit of doing it last, now I just write them last. I just spend time on it now.
yeah.
Like, whereas before it was, like, just whatever comes to mind. But if you get a good melody and a good feel on that song, whatever zone you're in that caused that melody to come, or like that those
come
notes
into
to come out,
creation.
are usually going to generate the words to describe it, in my experience.
That's a good
So,
way
like,
to look
if
at
it's
it.
an angry song, right, and you're writing some heavy fucking riff, and you want someone in your family to die, then that will generally come out in the
Personal
lyrics.
experience. No, like one of the
But I think, but I guess my point was, if you're writing lyrics first, you kind of get boxed in to a format already. Whereas if you just do it organically and come up with a melody and
I could see that.
and a vibe, then the lyrics will naturally come into that.
No, I could see that for sure. One of the artists that she's newer, that we tried to do her and Cameron Marla's song earlier, Ella Langley.
You want to do another take?
I need some practice first. No, but like I've really latched onto her recently because I think like I identify with her so much as an up and coming artist. Like if I were to become famous, like I would want her outlook and the way she portrays herself to her fans and to her followers. Like I would want to portray myself in that same way, because she's very open about the upbringing that she had, and she wraps that into her songwriting in a really beautiful way.
And what upbringing is? I'm not familiar with her story.
She grew up, I think, in Mississippi, in a very, like, a town just out of Montgomery, which is a big city for Mississippi. And, you know, I think she just grew up kind of redneck and really country. Like, she grew up on a farm, so she was driving tractors around and fucking handling cows and, you know, doing the dirty work, per se. But I think in her music, she doesn't hide that. And she doesn't hide that she drinks, you know, hard liquor and smokes cigarettes. And, like, she talks about all these, what most people would think about being not cute things about a girl to sing about. She kind of just is open about everything. And I really like that because I've experienced that same thing. Like, you know, I like to drink tequila. I like to drink whiskey sometimes. I like to smoke cigarettes if the occasion calls for it. And I feel like most female singers nowadays, they don't highlight that about themselves because it's not usually an attractive feature.
Was it an attractive feature with, like, the rock stars, though? Like,
If you're a male.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
because when I was looking up to rock stars, they were drinking Jack Daniels and smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
It's kind of an unfair portrayal on
yeah, I mean, like,
female.
Especially nowadays, like, smoking cigarettes, you know, used to, I mean, you could smoke on an airplane, it'd be fine. Like, they had no, I mean, you could smoke while you're pregnant. Your doctor said, it won't hurt you any. Like, it's fine. And now smoking cigarettes, I feel like it's not good for you, obviously. It's terrible for you. And it's a gross habit. It is.
It is.
But
all tobacco's
gross.
Pretty gross.
As I sit here and vape. But, you know, there was a point in my life where I was smoking, you know, like a pack a day, like in my early 20s. And it just kind of felt like the right thing to do at the time. And I enjoyed it, so I did it. But I relate with her in that she's not afraid to, like, she has a full song dedicated to wanting to be in love with a person so much that they replace the addiction of nicotine in your life. And the song is called Nicotine. So, you know, like, have you ever craved somebody so bad that you relate it to a cigarette?
It's pretty fucking powerful.
It's great.
And yes.
I relate to her a lot. And I respect her a lot because of that. So, you know, her songwriting abilities, to me, that's kind of what I look up to. Like, I want to be able to speak my truth without fear of judgment, but I also want to be able to touch other people's hearts with my lyrics and do it in a way that kind of gets into people's hearts like fucking George Jones used to with his, like,
But I don't think those guys tried to get into people's hearts. I think they spoke from their own.
I think that's what does get into people's hearts. I think people
try too hard to think about what do they want to hear versus what do I have to say.
Right.
You know, and I've always been kind of a coward with my lyrics. Like, I'm very metaphorical. Mm-hmm. You know, and you can do that in rock. Because country, that's why country terrifies me, is because it's so personal.
It is.
Like with rock, I can say exactly what I want to say and no one will understand it, but it means something to me.
Right.
Because it's like a veiled metaphor.
Yep.
And if I explain it to you, then you'll get it. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, I see that.
Yeah.
But it's also a fun way to write because it's like, how do I hide a message? It's like a coded message in a song.
Yeah. Or are people going to get it?
And it's like, I remember, this is a funny story. Gavin Rossdale came out with a solo album while he was married to Gwen Stefani. And I'm listening to the lyrics, and I'm a rock writer. And I was like, he's about to get divorced from that bitch. Like, these are all, like, traumatic love experience songs. And nobody was buying it. And then, like, a month later, he's banging the nanny. They get a divorce. I was like, I called it.
People tell their stories.
But it wasn't told in a country way.
Yeah.
It was told in a rock way.
Yeah. And
it was very metaphorical. And the words he was using and the emotions he was conveying is like, that's a breakup situation.
Yeah.
You know? And
well, and then, you know what's weird to me? Truly weird to me. Like, artists nowadays, whether it be country or rock, you know, they're sick of these. Sorry, I'm yawning. I can't help myself. When you think about it, it's just going to happen. But there's these people that sing these songs that have, the saddest lyrics. Like, you would think that they're going through like the roughest time in their life, and they sing it like it's coming from the heart. And then you look them up and you're like, oh, they're happily married with like 3 children and they're doing great. Like they're in a healthy relationship from the public eye.
Nobody
Who really knows? But
one thing I've learned on this podcast is you don't know shit about anybody.
That's
Even
true.
people you thought you knew for 20 years, you hear some shit and it's like,
That's
man,
true.
that changes everything I ever thought about a certain thing.
No, that's very true. You really can't, judge from your own. You can't judge a book by its cover. But like one of my favorite lyrics of a song ever written. It's one of my favorites. It's Sunday morning coming down, and I gotta make sure I get this right, or I'll be shamed online. I'm gonna look it up.
Oh, you coward!
Can I look it up? I'm afraid to get it wrong.
Looking it up.
I'm afraid to get it wrong.
What a letdown. One of my I would edit this out, but
I mean, it truly is one of the best.
you don't want to get it wrong.
Okay, wait. No, it came to me.
Yeah, it came to you. Came to me via my phone.
Came to me right before.
Fair enough. So what is it?
Okay, so he says, then I headed down the street, and somewhere far away, a lonely bell was ringing. And this right here is my favorite. And it echoed through the canyons like the disappearing dreams of yesterday. I'm like, damn, dude. Fucking hits. That hits you.
Well, that's not really a country lyric.
Chris Christopherson.
That's just a good fucking lyric, It's
Could be made either way.
I could hear that in a rock tune. That's metaphorical, really.
Honestly, that song to me is one of the most. It's one of the most relatable songs, I think. Sunday morning coming down. Johnny Cash sang it. A lot of people sang it. Chris Christopherson also sang it, but his version isn't as popular because he doesn't have the iconic voice that Johnny Cash does. But he was a damn good songwriter.
What's your take on Garth Brooks?
Yeah.
I love that natural reaction to that question. Ask a country girl what she thinks of Garth Brooks.
I love Garth. He's a staple in like 90s country music.
90s country music, okay.
Was he more 80s?
See, no, he was definitely 90s.
Okay.
I mean, he started in like 87, but I think, he was, the 90s was his.
So, I think I enjoy his songs, honestly. His song, That Summer, and if you know what I'm referring to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I watched those Hands of Leather, Turn to Velvet into Touch.
Mm-hmm.
That song makes me laugh fucking harder.
Didn't have to look that lyric up.
Than
Somebody's been
than
listening
anything.
Was that on No Fences?
I don't know.
I think it was on No Fences. It's either that or his first album.
I mean, and
But I know, yeah.
Yeah, That Summer, man. If you haven't heard that, ooh, it's like a.
Well, that's the thing with. Well, here's the thing about country music, and you can have a really fake. And here's what I despise about country music, and always have, is that it's gotten away from the songwriters. Like the people, the greats that you grew up with, those guys are writing their own shit. But now it's become an industry. So like the really good writers are selling their shit to performers who didn't live that life, who are just there because they didn't make it on American Idol or something. And now they're singing your song. Well, your song is genuine. And you wrote it from the heart, but you're selling it to somebody who had no fucking idea what you're talking about.
There are still those out there that write their own shit.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and I respect
But that's not
them.
what's really been put at the front of country, whereas rock and roll's kind of been...
I think you're talking about radio. And I'll be honest. I'll be honest. When I think of country music, I never listen to the radio unless, if I listen to the radio, it's going to be a classic station, like 93.3 The Keg, 94.3.
Okay.
I do not listen to the radio, like mainstream country radio. I won't touch it. And I don't listen to mainstream country music if I'm just on Spotify or whatever, streaming through my car. I choose to find, like, I look for the people that have their own sound, that write their own shit. I even messaged Oliver Anthony to see if he would play Pioneer Day this year. Because in my mind, I was like, this dude might do it. He might just do it.
Was that before or after he went on Rogan?
It was probably after.
Then you had no chance. He went on the big. Rogan pulls 30 million views an episode.
Yeah.
That guy got boosted.
Yeah.
I hope he does well.
I hope so. I hope that for him. But I mean,
talented.
He's talented, and he's I'm sure one of many that sing from the heart, and people just relate.
Well, he's
so
a working
much with
class
him.
man. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, look at the life he lives. He's like living out of a camper in the woods with his wife, and I think he just had a baby. Like, good for him, man. Good
I'm
for
not
him.
following him as closely as you are, so I don't know. Apparently, you're on his Instagram Insta feed.
Yeah, I follow him. Yeah.
Do you?
I like to see what he's up to. But I do that with the musicians that I like, because I want to know what their personal life's about too, because if I connect with their music, I feel like I would connect with them as a person too.
See, that I think that's a different thing from a country perspective, because like rock influences are just drug users and pedophiles and crack addicts and
I'm gonna say
heroin
pedophiles.
addicts. But they're all terrible people. So like, I never wanted to know their backgrounds because it had to have been horrible. For you know what I mean? It's like
Same.
Kurt Cobain. Like
Yeah.
like that's not a good influence.
Yeah, I don't know. I think with country music, I think country music in itself is about making a connection based on relatable experiences in life. And I think it's normal to want to be like, I want to hang out with that person and have a beer.
Well, I think both aisles are authentic. I mean, singing about heroin overdoses is authentic, but it's depressing.
Right.
Country music at least tries to find a positive
Like a
angle
bright
and tries to
spot.
bring you out of it versus where like rock can really bring you down, or it's like very depressive and
You say that, but country music can be some of the saddest music you've ever listened to. And
no, that's also true.
and in a metaphorical way. One of the saddest songs, and my brother brought me onto this song, is Old Violin by Johnny Paycheck. And if you haven't listened to it, you should, because you'll cry tears, as my uncle would say, as big as horse turds if you listen to it. And it just gets you. I mean, like, right in your feel. Same with George Jones. I mean, his voice could cut through you like a fucking knife.
But it's gritty.
It's gritty, but it's real.
But that's what I love about my buddy Jeff Calvert, is because he's not a trained guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just singing from the heart, and it sounds so much more rich and deep and powerful than what I hear on the radio. And again, I'm hearing what's on the radio, right?
Yeah.
You're not, but I just think country just came from grassroots. It came with people playing on the back porch.
Yeah.
Like your family.
Yeah.
You know, people just hanging out.
Yeah, to me that, and I don't really view what people are singing nowadays on the radio as country music. I still, because I grew up listening to Merle Haggard and Waylon Jennings. Like I have
Hank Three in there?
Hank 3 was in there a little bit, but mainly Hank Jr., David Allan Coe. I mean.
Did you ever hear that record he did with Pantera?
I did not.
Oh my.
I didn't know that
it's
such a
called
thing
Rebel
existed.
Meets Rebel. Yeah. David Allan Coe sang an album with the Pantera. Yeah.
But I think, like, I have this core memory. My dad has always been kind of he's been into collecting old cars and like wheeling and dealing. So he'd get a car that he liked, trade it for something else that he liked. That's just kind of been his, like, what he does. He's really good at it. And he had this old Corvette, and I couldn't tell you the year model. I wish I could. But it wasn't, what's the classic Corvette that has, like, the flat glass in the back?
Shit, I don't have a clue.
Anyways, if you know it, please put it in the comments.
Yeah,
but it wasn't one of those. It was two-tone. The top of it was silver, and the bottom was like this maroon red color. It was beautiful, fucking slick. And I remember he had a Waylon Jennings CD in there, and also he had a CD that had that song Dreamweaver on it by Gary Wright.
Yeah.
Dude, and I vividly remember like riding with him at nighttime in that Corvette, and that Dreamweaver song came on, and it has these like bat sounds in it. And
Yeah.
every time those bat sounds would come through, he'd do like like he would mimic like the bats. He'd just do like this
That's
finger
hilarious.
motion. But man, you talk about like driving in a Corvette, like a classic Corvette at nighttime and through the country in the dark, and that Dreamweaver song comes on, you're just like, this is what life's about.
I have very little experience in those kind of cars. It was all trucks or Jeeps or some bullshit. That's why I get so frustrated with these new Jeeps out there with the ducks in them.
Oh.
It's like, man, dude, when you used to have a Jeep back in the day, it had mud on it.
Oh yeah.
It had
Renegades.
fucking cracks in the glass.
Yeah.
You know, you were taking that sumbitch mudding as soon as you got
You
out
were-
of school Friday.
Yeah, you
or
were
off
living up to
work.
the Jeep reputation.
Yeah,
back
and
in
now
the
it's
day.
like these things are immaculate. They're washing them 3 times a week, and you got a duck collection. I'm sorry if it's an unpopular take, but
no, they're called Jeeple, okay? I mean, they have their reputation for a reason. I'm sorry if you're a Jeep person, a Jeeple, but, you know, to each their own.
I agree. Hey,
To each
do what
their
you want
own.
to do. I just lament the days of the Jeep when I grew up.
Absolutely.
When it had fucking mud on the tires.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, my dad had a Jeep Renegade at one time. You know, I talk about Pioneer Day. For those of you that don't know, I grew up in a town called St. Paul, Arkansas. It's about 30 miles southeast of Fayetteville. So Fayetteville was town for us. If we need to go to town, we went to Fayetteville. But we have a celebration every year called Pioneer Days. And really, it's meant to reminisce back in the days of old, because St. Paul used to be a central hub as a logging town. And so, you know, it was a main hub for the train coming through. And we were a big logging capital. Like, we had a bunch of timber, and that's where a lot of timber came from, was St. Paul. So it used to be a lot bigger than it is now. I think they took the population sign down because it got too small. But a lot of people still live there, and it's where I went to school and grew up. And but with Pioneer Days, you know, one of the big things about it is we have this Pioneer Day parade, and people bring their classic cars. They get their horse buggies and wagons out, fucking ride around the town square.
That's awesome.
And you know, like back in the day, my dad always used to have a classic car that he would want to ride in the parade with. And he had
Nice.
this Jeep Renegade. He had, most recently, he had a 68 Chevy Camaro that just fucking beautiful.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of fun. It's you know, I forgot what we were talking about.
So it's a whole
honestly.
deal.
It's a
Y'all
whole
do down
deal.
there. You're booking that this year?
I've booked it this year. We're all booked up. And, you know, if you know any bands, to give you an idea of this year's lineup, we're doing a band called Friday night. We're doing Boulder Creek Band. I think they do some gospel and some classic rock and maybe some, you know, southern rock, southern country. And then following that up is a band called Chicken Dandy. I'm going to plug them all here. And they're definitely classic rock, southern rock. They sound badass. They play up in Siloam Springs quite a bit, I think, at that, there's a pizza pub they play out up there. And then to end the night off, I got Phil Megara and the Roadrunners. And they play a lot at casinos around here. They're pretty big. Thankfully, we were able to get them to end the night out. And then on Saturday, that's when the parade happens. We're going to have a band called Fellers 4. And they played for us last year, and they did a great job. They're bluegrass. Guy's got a stand-up bass.
Nice.
It's just they're fucking awesome. But yeah, we're trying to really
miss the stand-up bass.
Man.
Where's it gone?
Where is it gone? And he's a younger guy too, so he's
Primus
like,
still you bust one out every now and then.
yeah.
Yeah, that dude. Les
I believe
Claypool,
that.
He busted out.
I wouldn't put that past that. Yeah, I wouldn't put that past him. It slaps.
I've never played one myself, but I can tell. I can tell from afar.
One of my favorite things to say, one of my favorite recent phrases, is looking at somebody in public that kind of has a different vibe about them, but you look at them and you're like, that guy fucks. Like, that guy fucks. Like, you see a dude driving like an old Corvette or fucking Mustang, and they're just fucking roaming around. It's just a dude on his own. Maybe he's got like a Natty Ice in the console, cold, screaming eagle, ready to go. And you look at that guy and you just think, that guy fucks.
How do they pull that off, though? Does that work in today's society?
It does for me. I don't know. I mean, sometimes
You
it's
watch Cobra
a joke.
Kai?
No, I never have.
You should.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Does that guy fuck?
I think you and Johnny Lawrence would make a great. Did you watch Karate Kid when you were?
Yeah, I watch Karate Kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the sequel to that, but like 30 years later.
Wax on, wax off. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
I don't know if you can say that anymore. Is
Can
that
you not?
too Asian? I don't know.
Too Asian. You said it.
Yeah, I've said a lot of shit. I always, my process is I record them, and then I edit them. I'll take the front off, the bathroom breaks out, and then I'll publish it to come out on a certain day. But before it comes out, I will listen to all of it.
Yeah.
Because there's been times it's like, oh, whoa. And it's
Maybe not.
It's like, well, but then I'm so lazy. It's like, God, I got to pull that file back up and reload it and cut. I'm leaving it.
Yeah.
It also keeps me from being a pussy.
Nah.
It's like,
you gotta be somewhat brave.
let it hang.
Yeah. You
I've
gotta
only
be somewhat
edited
brave.
one thing out of a podcast. I told you what it was before, though. We
Yeah.
started.
It doesn't matter.
But I've only had to edit one.
Okay. Honestly, I don't think it matters. If you were just, if you use pristine language and politically correct language the whole entire time, there would be somebody that would find something wrong. I mean, it doesn't matter what you say or what you do. People are going to be unhappy about it. You just kind of have to hope that most people will be happy about it.
Well, what's funny is I didn't think anybody would watch it at all. And then people are. And now I have people ask me, like, what are you going to do to grow it to the next level? I'm like, I'm kind of cool where I'm at, man.
Kind of going to keep doing what I'm doing.
I know the people who are watching. They're the ones coming on half the time. It's like, I'm kind of cool. I feel like if you get above the radar, that's when people start,
Yeah.
So
Getting
don't
offended.
share this. Don't even listen to it. Just delete it. Unsubscribe immediately.
Yeah.
But we're going to wrap this up. Thank you for coming on. It was awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent stories. And we're going to do another song soon, hopefully.
Hell yeah.
Good
I
luck.
say we do.
You want to plug that festival one more time?
Yeah, if you guys are free, come out to St. Paul Pioneer Days. It's going to be September 13th and 14th this year. Always the second weekend, Friday and Saturday night of September. So if you guys are free, come out Friday night, listen to some banging music. Saturday morning, too. Come see the parade. It's got some classic cars, some fucking horse wagons, and a bunch of people on horses. And come check out the vendors, because we've got some great vendors, too, selling their goods and their wares. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Very nice. Thank you.